Well, that's a loaded question. I'll be honest. It's a loaded question because I'm a person that I tell them all the time. I don't like if. Like I don't like to read the word if. I don't like it when I see people use if, and I feel like there's always almost always a better way instead of saying if. It just like fucks up the flow of things. Like on line 48, this one's actually fine. I can this type of if that I see that he has written, that type of if, that one's actually fine. Cuz it's a comparison. And you're comparing integer values. That one's fine. But like when you see like if on a string, I'm immediately like disgusted. I'm not going to lie. Um
So what don't you like about it? Do you not like nested if statements,
I mean,
or
one
you
of the
just think
Zen.
it
You're a
looks
Python
bad?
guy. You're a Python guy, and one of the Zens of Python is flat is better than nested, right?
Right.
And the if structure creates this nested looking structure. And when you're in like production level code, you'll see people because they don't know any better, or they can't think of the orientation to figure out how to get it without if. You'll see it be like if, and then inside of that is if, and inside of that is if, and inside of if, and then outside of each if is an else if, and another else if, because they can't really think of a proper orientation to solve it other than just reading exactly what's there and then saying if else if. To me, I feel like it's honestly lazy. I get it. Sometimes you're in a rush, but bro, it just fucks up the flow of code so bad.
I actually understand what you mean. It actually took me a little while to kind of like make my if statements more concise, because like if there's two conditions you check, you sometimes you could low key just lump them up into one thing. So
That's
like it
true,
took me a while to
but the
get to
most
that.
important thing is I'm gonna leave this to the people in here. How do we avoid if structures? There's a design pattern whose so one of the attributes of a design pattern is that it has a consequence. Okay? And one of the design patterns has a consequence of removal of conditions. Does anybody know which design pattern that is?
Removal of conditions. Am I
Yes.
sharing screen?
Yeah, I'm just watching you code right now. I'm just speaking, but watching you code passively too.
I got you. Wait.
Strategy pattern or
That
Is
is
it strategy?
correct. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't
yeah.
know.
That it.
Okay.
That's it. The strategy design pattern allows you to orient objects such that the alternative would be ifs, but you don't need ifs in your program because you've aligned them in a way that it just fucking flows. There's no reason to stop and check anything.
So what do you use? Enums? Like what's the
I
replacement?
personally prefer enums. That's true. Enums are like the most ideal case, but maps are sometimes a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more flexible. But enums are effectively maps anyway.
That's true. That is true.
But maps are a little bit more modular because you can change the keys, whereas enums they're constants.
So you use okay, but so like okay, I understand what you mean. So how would you replace enums with hash maps? Do you like map the things you need to a specific object? Is
To a
that what you
function,
do?
to the function you want to run.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you could do that with Java. I didn't know you could
I
map it to
mean,
functions.
you could do it in all languages. That's the thing. You know what I mean? And even before they introduced Lambda expressions to Java, you're still able to do that using something called the command pattern. The command pattern would allow you to basically procure the object that you need to build that strategy design pattern on top of.
Okay, I see. I see.
I'm gonna be right back. I need water.
I
yeah,
just
I'm gonna get a drink too. Right back.
but now we're on the second iteration. It should look something like this. 0, 0, 0. Five, right? So let's see how we do that. Need to, and what's this? 0, 0, 0. This is inside tensor x. So then I can say tensor x dot get. Let's see, tensor x is
Um,
now.
I'm back. Don't all you guys really have to remember for the data structure things really is just these three things: linked, tree, and hash. That's it. Linked means that it's in the order that it was inserted. Tree means that it's done by comparison. In Java, that means literally if the structure says tree, the object that goes in has to implement the comparable interface, because that's the way that trees work in all languages. They all require comparison to work, but in Java, it's very explicit. It's like, hey, this object is not of type comparable, so I can't insert it into my tree. By that, I mean a tree set, a hash tree, any data structure that has the word tree in it. So we know linked now. Now we know tree, and then we have hash. And hash is obvious. It just means in memory. Whatever way it put itself in memory, that's the way it's returning it.
What? No, not what you're saying. This error is crazy. This is a vector. Vectors have a get last method. I don't understand.
Can I find symbol get last? Location variable tensor x of type vector.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Is this
That,
this is runtime? You're getting this?
yep. Definitely a get last method. Joy. This is probably the best learning experience I've had in a whole. It was super fun. What the fuck? I mean, I don't understand. Let's just do this. Can we just print you out loud? No, what's the error? It's an error. What's the error?
I'm about to share a screen for a second, alright, Nez?
Yo, do you think?
Alright, let me return. Hold up, Discord, share. Alright. So, I mean, you guys are right. Python is a lot. You can get it done really fast. I'm not going to sit here and say that's not the truth. I was. Dang, man. Maybe I don't have it right now.
I'll be real though. Python, I think Java's readability and C++ and C# is way better than Python's. I'll be honest, especially if you're writing Python code. Sometimes it looks like gibberish.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real.
Yeah, I feel the same, honestly. I feel like it's okay. I mean, it's good when it's good. It's bad when it's bad, though. Like, I mean, that could be said about any language, really. But I don't know, man. The big thing for me is that Java is Java, so IntelliJ is Java. So then the languages just integrate together, like the actual IDE with the Java language itself. Just it all works so well together. There are things that I can do in Java and renamings that I can do completely safely, and I don't have to ever really concern myself that I do question and go double back when I do it in Python. I mean, I'm sure that you could say the same about Java in some instances. I just feel more comfortable in Java. The thing is, it's strongly typed. It's more verbose, it's true, but I can enforce more. I can make sure that people are doing things in a certain way. And that's actually why I wanted to share a screen. Because oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say strongly typing isn't a bad thing because it's less error prone. I'll be real. I make way more errors doing Python than Java.
Yeah. I mean, that's the nature of the game. You know, you can get to the runtime faster, but you also find out that you got something wrong later.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like if they added types, I know the new version of Python like it has types, but not really. I feel like if they like made stricter type enforcement, I think it'd be better.
Yeah,
Question.
like you mean like TypeScript for JavaScript? Yeah, what's up, man?
There used to be in IntelliJ, I can highlight a variable and look at its hierarchy. Do you remember the key bindings for that?
Wait, say it again, IntelliJ. You can what?
I can look at the hierarchy, so I can look at its superclasses, its subclasses, etc. But I forget the
I
key
think
binding.
Alt 7 might be what you're looking for.
So that'd be option 7.
Option 7, yeah. No, that just shows the class structure. I can't remember right now. I can't remember right now.
I mean, not the hierarchy.
Huh?
Oh, look at that. Oh, found it.
Um, so I was trying to create something real simple, which was just to clone all of my repositories from one of my organizations that had a particular prefix. Okay? Cuz I name all my repositories, the prefix for all of my repositories is the technology first, the primary technology. So I'll say maven dot blah blah blah, spring dot blah blah blah. Um, Stuff like that. So I have one that's Mixcraft. That's all of my music files, all my music projects. So I said Mixcraft dot blah blah blah, and it gave me like one file in Java, and that one file was able to do it. It just had that main method. But then I reread it, and I wish I could find the original source. That's what I was really looking for, um, because this is the product of it, and this structure is super important. I'm hoping I can somehow find it.
Also, don't you think IntelliJ is a little bit heavy? Like,
Yeah,
I understand all this functionality. It just feels, I don't know, I like VS Code a little bit better.
it is very heavy. Yeah, and if you're nice like that in VS Code, then that's good. Because then, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night without all the features that inside.
I
Like
feel that.
I have strokes open in VS Code and trying to like do simple stuff with key bindings and stuff like that.
Damn, it ain't that bad. What the fuck?
Nah, it is bad. It's very lightweight.
I wanted to be like, nah, bro, I don't struggle because you forget I was raised as a Java dev mind, just abrasive no go over it and say anything and get away with it until it's time for me to, push. I mean, not push. Uh, what is that? Pull request? Yeah, I'm getting all the way over until it's time to pull request. And I'm gonna go clean it up and make it look the way you want it to look.
Bro, you never used Eclipse, bro. I was using that in school.
I've used Eclipse before. Well, no, I used NetBeans. I looked at Eclipse and I was like, yeah, IntelliJ is way better.
Bro, 10 times better, bro. I'd rather sit here and look at IntelliJ than I ever open up VS Code. I mean, Eclipse again.
I
Yeah,
feel that.
my my last team, they were like Eclipse, Eclipse, and I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah, I
Absolutely,
feel that.
I couldn't even YouTube how to get through Eclipse.
Damn, man, I'm really looking for this thing. I cannot find it. It's. I really want you guys to see this original code. Maybe I could just prompt it again. I guess. I don't. Yeah, I'll just prompt it again, and we can just. No, I don't. I don't care. All you need to know is that it was just a single file with a main application in it. Okay. All right. I took it and I modified it so that there is no main application. Ideally, in Java, there is no main application. See, that's the beauty of abstraction. In an ideal world, this shit just don't exist. Like in an ideal world, the if don't exist. In an ideal world, the best code that you ever had was the code that you never had to write. Like, who wants to rewrite the string class? Raise your hand. My hand is down.
Hey, when you say, I just got back. When you're
Yeah.
saying no main class, are you saying like no entry point, no PSVM?
Yeah. Yeah, no PSVM.
Okay.
And the reason that that's better is because it actually abides by what's called the open close principle. Open to extension, but closed to modification. So when you have no main application, this project is intended to be treated as a jar. Does that make sense?
So what you got?
If the project doesn't have a main application, its intent is to be used as a jar. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Wow, what are you about to say? What are you about to
I
say?
was gonna say, I was gonna say, like, isn't the only file version you can make of an executable of Java is jar?
Make a war. I think it's
You can make a jar,
sure.
or you can make a war. But even so, these jars they can't be executed because they don't have an entry point.
Mm.
The you have no entry point, I mean, like, what's the
The use?
yeah, like, what's the goal here?
A
Good
library?
question. Exactly. It becomes a library at that point. So this has all of the classes that are necessary to sort of modularize the process of cloning repositories if somebody wanted to. It has stuff like a downloader, a cloner, an extractor, a fetcher, an actual object that represents a page because it paginates and it gets it by pages if you have multiple pages of repositories, and it has a GitHub repo. It has all these different classes so that you can utilize them however you'd like on your end. But the way that I use it, and sort of my opinion on how to use it, is to say organization, access token, prefix, and then download to wherever it is. And this application is the main application. This has an entry point. This is a completely separate project. But you'll see that it doesn't have any classes. It just has the main application.
So when you're treating it modularly like that, you produce a jar, has no entry point, no PSVM. Practically, how is that being used? You know what I mean?
What do you
Like,
mean?
You have to have
Right here on line
like
9. In this
yeah,
case?
yeah, but I'm saying like no. So like back to what you're talking about, like you don't want a main class, you don't want an entry point, no PSVM. You want to ideally treat it as a jar,
Yeah.
which can be adopted by something else.
Yep.
But that something else, like what's the something else? I mean, like it's gonna be like it could be another Java app. You need an entry point somewhere, is what I'm thinking, right?
This is the entry point here. I'm not sure I understand what you're asking. This is main right here on line 4.
Hold on, let me make sure I'm looking at the right screen. Okay, so you got multi-layer perceptions example, or am I? Oh, I'm looking at Nez.
Were you looking there the whole time?
Well, I was gone
Oh, okay.
for starters. But hold on, yeah, give me a second. Forgot. I'm using like this janky Discord because the main one's not working right now. Okay. Okay, all right. Now I can. Okay, so you got your. This is for what, your music stuff. Yep, Cymatic Productions.
It's not this
Okay.
this particular project is for my music stuff, but the repository and the project that I was just showing is not for my music stuff. It's for anybody's use.
Yeah. So now that I'm looking at your screen, like, explain what you were talking about.
Now we can see that this project has no classes. It just it has one class, the main application,
Yeah.
and just the main
Right.
method. And from there, you basically run just one line. I like to keep it separated as these 5 lines just so that somebody else that comes in can see very explicitly what's happening. But basically, it's just your organization, the access token itself, the repository name prefix, and if you want to just clone all your repositories, you can leave it empty. The directory that you'd like to clone it to. In my case, I'm just cloning it into my target directory. And then you initialize the downloader and tell it to download.
Right, but you were talking before about not wanting PSVM, not wanting an entry point, not wanting a main class, right?
Yes, and in this case,
I
you
thought
might
you
be
said-
thinking to yourself, this is a violation.
Yeah.
So this is a violation, but the point is that all other code, right? Like realistically, this is what this code, this application, this quote unquote application looks like. Right? It's one line that's pointing to this guy back here, right?
Okay.
Realistically, in a larger
And that's like a jar, right?
yeah,
on
this
your,
this is the
GitHub,
jar.
okay.
You can see this. Yep.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
This guy in a larger application, it wouldn't be just this one jar. There would be many jars. So this
Right,
rule
that's
would
what I was
apply
getting at. I was like,
across
you have to
over and
have,
over and over, all the way up until you have that one guy like this. But you don't want to see this conflated with a bunch of logic. It shouldn't have very much logic at all.
Yeah, I get it. You're basically treating the jars like objects on like a macro scale.
Yeah.
But
And
th-
that
this
way-
is what I
that
meant.
way you
I was
get a
like,
really
have to have
modular
some kind of a
idea.
main app.
Yeah.
There has to be like some basic entry point somewhere along the line, and this is what it is.
Yeah.
That's all
It's
I was trying
it
to figure
bubbles.
out.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It bubbles all the way up to the top. But you want to kind of
Oh, and
streamline
actually,
that process by
not
creating a bunch of different objects that can be used almost in an arbitrary way, but like, what were you about to say?
yeah, no, I don't want to derail too much. I think it's kind of related. Rob mentioned something the other day, like they had been talking about the new LTS 21 and how you no longer need a PSVM, but it's limited to very specific applications. But I think if you're going with an architecture like this, where you're pulling in everything from jars and the one app is just like an entry point, I think you could treat it. I think
Yeah,
it
I'm
gets
fully
treated like a
confident that.
script type thing.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm fully confident that when you have this type of design, right? Like
Yeah.
it's going to be compatible with pretty much everything. And that's the stuff that I really try to enforce when I say stuff like, "Hey, put all your method implementation in your interfaces. Do not put them in a concrete class." I say that because if you do put them in these areas, things will be fine, potentially for years. But at some point, someone's going to have a differing opinion. It might be you yourself about the way that it was written, and you'll wish that you didn't have to rewrite shit. You'll wish that you could have just added a different variable there. For example, here on line 6, where I can just switch out the organization. Or if I need something about the way the downloader works, this fetcher, for example, I could override its implementation and do something custom myself. Like it just opens up the opportunity for other things to be moved around uh, with a differing opinion later.
But wouldn't
Yeah,
it be
yeah,
better just to use an abstract class? I feel like interfaces, like,
No.
I don't know.
Abstract classes
Interfaces are
are
better.
Yeah, abstract classes are really they're not bad, but they're dangerous. They're very dangerous. Let me ask you,
How
Wow,
so?
how many abstract classes can you extend?
You could only extend one at a
How
time,
many interfaces can you implement?
as many as you want.
Okay, that's why it's an issue because it become very, very tightly coupled to that decision. And if you don't have complete foresight on the future, then you might need to use that behavior in a different class at a different point in time. So it'd be a lot easier for you to just say implements this interface and inherit that behavior than it would be for you to say extend this class and then later on you find out, oh my god, I have to change this class which isn't coupled to an interface and now I have to make it extend a different class and refactor everywhere else that it was using that class.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yo, if I was in that situation, I'd be mad.
Right.
Ooh, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
Did my
Bro.
my monitor just go out? It did. Oh, okay.
Did you set up?
I did.
I know what it is. It's static.
Is
I had
it?
that shit happen a few years ago, and after like tons of research, I figured out that's what it was.
Hmm.
It'll get out. It'll go off for a second when you get up, and it'll come back on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't usually do that, but it did just do that a
It
moment
only
ago.
does it on one of my monitors, and if I put a humidifier in here, it like cuts it out all the way. It's fine.
That's weird. The cheesiest of cakes. Who is that? No one here?
Nah, bro.
Okay. Well, welcome whoever is watching us right now. The cheesiest of cakes on Twitch. On Twitch,
Oh.
I've just seen.
I'm like, what's happening? All right, no. What's happening right here? All I did was add 0 3 times and then add the index to a different tensor. Why the fuck is this printing that? Yeah, we just gonna
Y'all
drop
have
it.
any questions about that right now?
Nah, I kind of missed the whole beginning anyway.
That's all right. Well, got it. Go ahead, Wild. Tell them what happened.
Um, I don't think I was here for the beginning, but we were just talking about he brought up that we shouldn't be using if statements. Everything should just be
Yeah, either
I-
enon as
Yeah,
far
yeah.
as apps. Yeah.
Yeah, everything should be maps or you're using yeah. And then we were just talking about design patterns and like what's the best like coding practices in a
Okay.
way.
Yeah, and then the interfaces versus the abstract classes.
Classes, right? Interface versus abstract.
Yeah, I
What's
caught that part.
okay? What's the purpose of an abstract class if it's not to cup? So firstly, let me just establish this. An interface's purpose is to couple itself to behavior. Okay, what is the purpose of an abstract
Cool
class?
behaviors to objects.
If you have multiple, I guess, things that kind of have commonalities, then I would just kind of like group them all in an abstract class and then extend from there.
What is the commonality that they have? Like, what do you mean by commonalities? Because we can say the same thing about interfaces in the case of behaviors. And going back to Dean, a behavior has to come from an object, because in Java there is no behavior that we can invoke that does not come from an object. It can come from a class, but it's like a class
blueprint.
object.
I guess it's just like a blueprint for like if you have like many things. Like if I had like I guess so let's say I had a restaurant and I was making like pizzas. Like there's so many different pizzas, but you have different toppings and stuff like that. So like in that instance, you have you have the base, which is the blueprint, which is the pizza itself. It's all gonna be the same, and then you have different toppings, different prices, and things like that. So then you would extend from there.
I know
I'm
the
not
correct
too
answer
convinced.
just from memory.
Yeah, don't tell me the correct answer from memory, because I want to walk through this so that we can get a fair idea of
Like why?
of why exactly. So we're gonna create this pizza, right? And we got pepperoni pizza. You're saying pepperoni pizza, and we got pineapple pizza. Okay, and they all have base pizza properties. Like they all have the ability to get a taste. You can get the taste from them.
Yeah.
And it returns at this moment null. We'll figure out what to do later. Okay?
Right.
And we'll create this just to keep it cute. All right? And now we have the ability to get taste on the pizza. You're saying that, obviously upon construction, this thing is going to have this dot cheese is equal to some new cheese, right?
Right.
And we're going to need to create cheese. That's fine, whatever. And but then on top of that, there's going to be all these other things that they might need to do, like that they will add that to the taste basically. So to be like, all right, well, taste dot add cheese, right? But then also for the rest of them, they might need to do taste dot add cheese plus pepperoni, right?
Right.
Okay. Here's my thing with it. Why could I not just make them all interfaces?
I mean, you could.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. What is it that about the abstract class? What's the purpose of it then?
I guess what you're trying to say is anything class does well, interface also does well, plus other things.
Well, I'm just trying to gauge what you think, because it's a very, very common misconception, and even people all the way up at the senior level, like they argue this same thing, and you're gonna hear it over and over and over. So I want to make sure that you're aware here and now, and you get all of those misconceptions out for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, whatever question you have about why that isn't a thing, I want you to ask it now. That way, it ain't no thing later.
That is a great question. I'll say that. It's a great question.
Okay,
Very
great.
And I'm not sure I have answer. I'm not sure I have a good answer. I'll say
Okay,
that.
so why are you so tied to these damn whatchamacallits? They don't love you. These abstract classes.
Wait.
I feel like abstract classes, they just give me I guess more ability. Like, all right, I'll give you an example, right? That's like with interface. I can, what's it called? With an abstract class, I can implement, like, I can do a constructor. And then I can inherit it. That way, I don't have
Man,
to
you don't need no constructor. I'm just writing this
here we
stuff.
go.
You don't need no constructor. What you need a constructor
now we
for?
don't need a constructor. Now
I
we don't
mean,
need it.
barely, like just barely. You need that constructor. Look, watch. want to make everything into an interface, right? Look, so let's just look at what's happening first, all right? So I just did like this. Like, upon construction of a pizza, it instantiates a cheese, a taste and a cheese. Taste doesn't have nothing in it at first. But then when you go to get the taste, that's when we decide, all right, we'll add some cheese, we'll add the taste. And then later on for the other classes, we'll be like, I don't know, taste.add pepperoni. You know what I mean? We'll keep moving it. We'll keep it moving.
Mm-hmm.
And this is actually starting to get, it's just going to, what does it say? Yeah, I don't want to make too many classes because here's what I'm going to do. Instead of doing like that, we're going to say it's just a list of string because I'm going to get out of hand and have to make a class for every single type of food.
Wait, hold on. Your stream cut out. Let me jump out and jump right back in. Hold on.
Okay.
I want to drop a flag on the play for that last comment.
Who, me?
Yeah.
It's not. It's for demonstration's sake though. It's like I only have but so much time. I got 25 minutes right now. I got to make points. I got to teach it. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm.
I got you.
But
Okay.
I feel you. It's
All
a
right,
fair.
continue,
It's a fair flag.
continue.
It's a fair flag. I thought the same thing when I said it too. I was like, but I got to do what I got to do. Because right now it's like a time constraint. So Nez was saying, firstly, he threw a flag on the play because he was like, for you to go back and use strings after arguing that you're supposed to use objects is wild because you say that you're going to make too many objects. It's a fair argument, but right now I just don't got that much time. Sorry, Nez. Okay. So anyway, pizza has taste, and taste just allows you to add different strings representative of the flavors that you want. So by default, it's all just cheese, right? And then we got pineapple, and you want to say pineapple extends pizza, and that way you could just do. Why do you want to say that? Who's got their mic on like that? What does that sound?
Hold on.
Oh, that's you.
Hold
You want to say. Hold up. Whoops. You want to say get taste. How do you want to say it? Because I know how I would say it if I thought the way that I think you're thinking. Do you want to go into the pineapple class, and then how would you extend pizza and?
I guess you would. Everything has a taste, but pineapple is different. It's gonna have cheese on top of pineapple, so
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
How you want to do it?
like a hash. I don't know. Like how
Okay, look. Here's how I thought you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna say like, do like this. And add pineapple.
Yeah, but the pineapple also will go on top of the cheese. But every pizza is gonna have. Well, most pizzas are gonna have cheese on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is a child of pizza, and pizza has cheese by default, right? Or
Yeah.
did I miss that?
No,
Yeah,
you're
it
right.
does.
You're right.
Yeah. Okay.
That's cheese by default. Yeah. Wait. So what's the problem with it?
I don't think there's really a problem.
Okay.
I think
Okay. I think this is actually it's okay in this case. Like what we're showing, this pattern is okay just because of the way we're building it. However, as it grew in scale, this would become an issue, because if we go to pizza, what if pizza ends up being edible or something like that, and it also ends up being a cookable food, an edible food. We have to treat it in different areas as things that could be cooked or things that could be eaten. Like our program has to handle these different contexts for the pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't want to,
Okay,
at that point, the keyword extends becomes very, very volatile.
So give an example. Like, can you make it a little bit bigger?
Yeah, I could.
guess-
I could make it really big. Hold on real quick.
I'll show an example of where like it could
Yeah.
be a problem.
I got you. Hold on. So this is an assignment I built a while ago. And it shows that when systems grow, you will eventually encounter an issue with your inheritance. It's called the diamond paradox in inheritance, I believe. It's the multi-inheritance diamond paradox. It doesn't matter. It's just the multi-inheritance concept. But here it says like eaters can eat, noisemakers can make noise. An animal is a noisemaker and it is an eater. A horse is an animal and a horse is rideable. A chicken is an animal. Matter of fact, let's stop right there. A horse is an animal and it is rideable. Right?
Pause.
You said what?
No, continue.
He's crazy. But then
That was
look,
crazy.
a rider can mount and dismount rideable objects. So, vehicles are also rideable. So how do we handle that now that we know that horse is rideable and vehicle is rideable?
Ooh, that could get tricky.
Aircrafts are vehicles. And aircrafts are vehicles which can fly. How do you design that? A crop
That's
duster
gotta be-
is a farm vehicle and an aircraft, and a farm vehicle can operate on a farm. A tractor is a farm vehicle.
But that's gonna be a lot of extensions.
It could be,
You're gonna be doing a lot.
maybe. But if you were to use interfaces, let's just go and we'll say this is the everything pizza. Okay? And let's assume that these things were interfaces. Now here's where the questions, where I was hoping the questions would come in. All right? Because how do we handle instance variables? The answer is we really just put a getter. If there was actual code that needed to be written here, right, we could make a default method that does the thing. Okay? Follow me now, because this is the real important part. If there's actual method implementation that we need to do, we can just make a default method that does it. If there's an instance variable that we need, we can just make a getter that gets it. If we need to set an instance variable, we can just make a setter that sets it. So now if we're in the does the thing scope, we can at any point in time refer to the taste and do whatever we need to do. So then we go into our everything pizza, and it's as simple as saying it implements the pepperoni, pineapple.
That
Pineapple.
actually makes it a lot easier.
And we could even say the pizza, and then the only thing it's going to ask us to return is get taste and set taste. So now we create a constructor which takes an argument of taste. We say this dot taste is equal to taste. And now, what else is mad about? Let's missing something. Oh yeah, does the thing. But why is it telling me to do that? It's because I was playing around with this piece here. This piece needs to stop. Okay, there we go. And everything pizza looks like that. Yeah. Yeah. Now what we're looking at in the scope, it's like you were talking about earlier, single responsibility principle. Now the only thing that we're looking at in this scope is what? If we follow the principle that the interface has all of the method implementation, and that the more concrete class has this piece, what is this piece that it's holding then? Dean, do you know?
What, for the concrete class?
Yeah. In this case, currently, what is it holding? The answer is, currently on screen what we're looking at is the state. So
I was going to say state, but
yeah,
I thought for it to hold state, like, because we're not like
the only thing we have here
assigning any
is
values.
our variables. That's the only sorry. The only thing we have here is control over our fields. Fields of a class are representative of the state. So here on line 4, that's the only field it has, and then you'll see the only methods it has is exposing it, setting it, and constructing it. Well, it doesn't even really construct it; it just sets it upon construction. But so now we see that the interfaces, they're responsible for coupling things to the behavior. Right now, this class is responsible for coupling it to the state, but this is where I argue where state should be coupled. It should be coupled as an abstract class, and we should have some abstract everything pizza, and then we should have some everything pizza, which extends the abstract everything pizza.
So the real answer is use both. That's the real answer.
Yeah, but you're going to use a lot more interfaces than you are your abstract classes. The abstract class should only come in when you're absolutely positive about your concrete class.
Okay, that makes sense.
Why is it telling me one related problem? Hover over it, says cannot access abstract everything pizza because why? Cannot access abstract everything pizza. Why? I feel
It's
like
in the same. Oh, maybe change the access. Oh no, it's good.
I just had a refresh. That's all it was.
Oh.
Okay. So I also so I was trying to make a simple calculator app at some point in Python just to refresh myself on how to design OOP in Python. It started out I just wanted to make a simple calculator app, and the next thing I knew I was like, man, I can't stand writing in Python because I want to speak to an object. I want to say calculator dot this, and if I don't have my objects where I say object dot this and things are kind of just happening, it just fucks me up. Like my brain just be looking at it and like I'm like, okay, like I get it, yeah, but I'd be like, no, I can't. And I say that because what that allows me to do, I guess, is first it does, I guess, kind of impede on me doing things quickly. I will admit that for sure, because I don't want to do something just quick and dirty. I want to like flesh it out and then finish it. But it also allows me to go between languages and I'm applying the exact same principle every single time. So the language doesn't really affect too much, because they all are doing the same thing. And once you get out the objects, once you have the objects there, like you can use your objects in a way that it looks the same on all the languages. Like object equals the new object, and then that new object do the thing. You abstract out, a bunch of the stuff behind the scenes, and you can't really tell that there's that big of a difference on some of this stuff. I will say